Hello, and welcome to Heal Your Relationships, Heal the Planet. Our corporate sponsor this evening is Mate Magic. You can visit them at www.matemagic.com. My name is Alina Frank. I am a Cert 1 EFT practitioner and trainer in the Seattle area. And I'm joined this evening with the amazing Dr. Craig. Hello, Dr. Craig.
Hi, pleasure to be here.
So let's get going with this webinar. Okay, if I can find my controls, there we go. So we have a picture here of a crowd. And the question is this chaos or unity? People are connected by energy. All the people in this crowd are interconnected. Crowd psychology states that the energy, what happens in a crowd, fluctuates and changes each moment according to that energy. And the energy that's taken up in the moment. If there were a sniper amongst all these people, they would react one way. If someone just spontaneously broke out and started hugging and kissing folks, it would turn out another way. And we call this effect the holographic effect, the butterfly effect, the homeopathic effect. And just recently with the inauguration of Obama, I heard some dignitaries in Europe say that the Obama effect could have a tremendous impact on the world economic crisis coming to an end much sooner than predicted.
So my question is, when I see this crowd, is everybody there in relationship, whether they know each other or not? Are they interconnected? Are they separate individuals that just happen to be in the same moment in space and place and location? Or somehow they connected in some way that may be more subtle than they're aware of?
Mm-hmm. And the definition of relationship is actually the connection or kinship and feelings that exist between people or groups.
Okay. So if relationship is connection, it's kinship, there are varying levels of relationship, then I think since that has an effect on everybody's life at all the times, I think it's a topic that's worth exploring, don't you?
It is. And so we'll launch our first poll question, which is, do you believe that your thoughts and deeds influence the collective?
So in other words, do my thoughts that I have in my own little head, can they affect people outside of myself and maybe even past what I could see beyond my community in another place and time?
Right.
Good question. What do you think?
It's a scary thought. But yes, at this point in my life, I do believe that that is actually the truth. And
that's very interesting, because there are people that have studied, for example, remote viewing, and they can see and feel and know things that are distant to them and those things that are right in front of them. So if we can perceive things that are far away, doesn't that mean it's a two-way street? We might be able to affect things that are far away as well?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And here I'm going to make the connection between good emotional, mental health and the connection to the outer world. So Margaret Mead defined or had a model for how you should assess how you're doing on a psychological level, and she said you should look at the relationship you have first. Whoops, here we go. First with yourself, your family, your friends and coworkers, community and society, the world, and I like to add God in here.
So they're like concentric circles, beginning with that which is closest to home and then getting ever more expansive.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And it also sort of corresponds with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In order to even start to think beyond yourself, you've got to take care of your own basic needs and wants and desires. And I know that you spoke with someone about this recently in a workshop that you held when asked how is it that you can be selfish and still give to others, or wasn't it something?
Yeah, actually speaking with a psychiatrist, Dr. Rick Ingrassi, who's a colleague of mine and friend, and we were speaking about the question was really that came up in a group presentation was, aren't we being ever so selfish these days? We've got self-coaches, we've got self-trainers, we've got all these different, our own self-therapists, and all these different things. And, aren't we getting a little navel-oriented? And the discussion that came up, and which you said quite brilliantly, was, when we truly take care of our own needs, when we're full, when we really feel our cup overflowing, the natural desire is to be there and to be present and to serve others because we're so overflowing, and it's our natural next step. But it's truly when we're not getting our needs met that we're doing things halfway, that we're doing things with resentment, that we're being there for other people but resenting that we're doing it. So if you don't start with self and love of self and health of self, then you really can't be there in a healthy way for others in these ever-enlarging circles.
The best piece of advice I received at a master's conference was, I believe it was from Loretta Sparks, who said, would you like to see your children living the life that you're living? And I had to take a cold, hard look and say no. And there are certain things that I want to change and I'm going to change now, just from sitting with that question, and how my children would be affected by how I was living my life. And of course, then their children are affected by that, and so on and so on and so on.
I agree wholeheartedly. And so I think that the focus, again, always begins with self. And just as this next slide shows, it's not just that it's a hierarchical step, but they're really all existing simultaneously. When we are taking care of self, there's a natural overflow to family and at work and in our day and the different relationships that we have. And when a relationship is getting full and rich at work, it affects our relationship with our family, that affects our relationship with others, that absolutely affects our beliefs and our ability to let in a greater and greater relationship with ourselves and with God. So they're very much all interplaying simultaneously.
And so here we're talking about the quantum reality. Quantum physics states that there really isn't anything out there except possibilities, and your reality is determined by what you expect to experience. Your energy, your beliefs, expectations, attitudes, perceptions create how you show up, how your family is to you, your friends treat you, etc.
We're right in agreement with that one.
Okay. So the next slide is sort of the 3 stages that I came up with on my journey to this realization. The first one was awakening, the second emergence, and the third one is responsibility. And awakening is sort of like Alice's first peek into the looking glass when she suddenly sees the mirror and the connection of the inner and outer world for the first time. And this can be triggered by study, meditation, traumatic event, life-altering experiences, or profound synchronicity, which is what happened in my life.
I think that synchronicities often point the way that you're on the right direction, but I think those first awakenings really often happen with people facing death of a loved one, a divorce, a serious diagnosis or illness, and those things kind of shock the reality of, am I living the life that I want to be living? And that sudden coming face-to-face with that causes that awakening that often people turn to a spiritual path, or people turn to some pathway that says, I'm getting back in the game here. So yeah, that awakening is always necessary to see and to take a look at and to be awakened to, that then the next step naturally occurs from.
And emergence is when you begin to experience more and more synchronicity. And the more, I like to call them God winks, and I stole that term from a book of the same name, or messages that you just sort of get on such a great frequency that there's just absolutely no way that you can deny the existence of something beyond the 5 senses.
The funny thing about that is I used to live in the Bay Area in California, and it was not uncommon to see a bumper sticker that was called Magic Happens. And, and I saw that, and it was kind of like good fairy kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's nice. It's a nice idea. But I didn't really get it until really that emergent period started happening in my life, where each day were more and more of those synchronicities. And there's no way that could have been by accident. And you start to realize when you start living that, or at least I did, that those things can be part of your reality, and the more that they are, the more you expect them to happen, and the more they do happen, and you don't want to live any other way, to be honest.
Sure, except that for some people, fear can get in the way, and ignorance is bliss. But it's really hard to put that genie back into the bottle completely, isn't it?
It is. It can go back temporarily, but I think it's kind of like a catnap.
Mm-hmm. Well, because then the third stage comes along, which is taking full responsibility and saying, yes, I own everything I've created. And it says Marianne Williamson's quote when she says that it's not your fear of being powerless, but of just how powerful you truly are.
I think that can be scary when people truly begin to take responsibility for their lives. I think that almost always the first step is overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, you mean I have to be aware of everything? I certainly know that I was there. And it feels overwhelming and it feels heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side of that, then everything is an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And everything becomes an experiment for magical things and synchronicities to happen. And that's an exciting way to live.
Mm-hmm. Well, as a practitioner, I know now that my clients are also coming to me as showing an aspect of myself or some sort of thing that I myself am grappling with, and to heal it in myself then reflects a healing in what I perceive as another person. And I know that there are lots of modalities that help you get there, such as Ho'oponopono, and all of these you can incorporate with EFT. And absolutely, using EFT along the way when you first have that awakening and the emergence and the responsibility piece, the fear and the overwhelm that can happen, all of this can be addressed with EFT.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, next slide.
Where are we going to go from here?
Okay, yeah, so what, so...
No, go ahead. Great. I love this part.
So let's look at all these different concentric circles and what stops you. I'm not enough when it comes to looking and healing yourself in order to see that reflected out into the world. I'm not enough.
Are you telling me that beings that are these incredible body, mind, soul, spirit beings could possibly think that they're not good enough?
Absolutely, I see it every day. And this is the most important part of EFT for me, is just coming to love and accept yourself no matter where you are in the continuum of evolution. I mean, it's if you just stop at this moment and accept that this is where I am. I'm human, and yes, I have these problems and these issues and these challenges, but I love and accept myself no matter what. And just saying that will dissipate some of the charge that I'm not enough has around it.
You were just saying that the other night when I heard you teaching. Joe Vitale had said that of all the parts in EFT, the most powerful aspect is the repetition of that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the distinction that I learned for myself was that you are not the things you do. You are not just the feelings you have. You're not any one of those things. That you're so much bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
And the ability to absolutely love yourself no matter what you did, no matter what you felt, no matter what you said, is huge. That little bit of separation, that little bit of witnessing is so powerful and gives you room to actually be human and fallible.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's very, very important. Family. How does family stop you from, how do familial relationships stop you from having your dreams? You might go, oh, no, I got my family stuff together, but you know what? I pretty rarely see that in my practice. And it might be parental lessons that they taught you, that you weren't good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're not strong enough, that, it's not okay to be artistic and creative and musical, that you should, focus on this in your business. Their opinions about your marriage status and your dating status and your sexuality and all those different things, that those parental figures and then siblings have powerful effects on limiting your ability to have healthy relationships in life. So using EFT to kind of take the charge out of those beliefs and ideas is so important.
Mm-hmm. Okay, society, they control me. So if we are, I know that you share this belief with me, or this way of thinking, that we are making all of this up, then it's all just a myth. None of it is real. And what I tell my clients who come to me and they say, well, there's this, there is the World Bank that's controlling the U.S., or some other thing that's disempowering, this belief that's disempowering, I always ask them, is this useful mythology? If you get to a point where you say, okay, everything is a myth, everything is a lie, I don't really know what's going on, not really, it's all an illusion, then for you pick and choose the things that work for you, the myths that you live by. I know that Dr. Richard Bartlett loves to say that, oh, I'm drawing a blank. Isn't that funny?
Is this where I jump in and take over?
Yes, please.
I don't know exactly which phrase Dr. Bartlett, who's a wonderful teacher of mine, is, but I think the point really that I'd like to say is when we give any kind of cultural authority, to relationships, to any aspect of what you think you're capable of, your socioeconomic status, the walls that you hit, the glass ceilings of gender, all those different aspects that we believe to be true because we have evidence of it, there are people that say, no, you know what, that's not so for me, and then they expand beyond those. So we're just looking at how the limitations can be, taken in as just absolute fact by our society and community and, and country at large.
Mm-hmm. What I wanted to finally thought of it. I'm sorry. So he throws out that the term fact comes from the Latin root of factum, which actually means made up. To make it up.
So we get to make it up.
We get to make it up. So if you look at some studies, such as the French, and trying to determine what it is about their diet and their lifestyle that makes them resistant to heart disease, they haven't actually been able to peg it down. But couldn't it simply be that they just enjoy their food and their wine and they have absolutely no guilt about it? The Chinese have very few instances in cases of senility. And couldn't you draw some conclusion that it's because they really honor their aging and no one's really afraid to age and die there?
No, I think that you're going to see those differences culturally, and they're the facts culturally that you're born into and you accept as just so, and they become your reality in return.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can see that in many ways. But if we expand beyond culture, and we expand beyond our country and our community, we're going to get to even more expansively on the largest senses, our relationship with the divine, our relationship with God, however that exists for you. And on one hand, that could be the absolute most healing relationship, or it could be one that absolutely makes life small, and you can be feeling your view of God. There's so many studies that show that when one's relationship or view of God is as a punishing God, healing time is so much less. There are studies that show in age units, for example, that when people had a positive relationship of a loving God, their lifespans were so much larger and longer. And so when we look to how we view God, or how we view God viewing us, that relationship is just such a powerful one. And we all have those stories or instances when perhaps somebody died close to us when we were young, and we felt God to be a punishing God. Why me? Why did it have to happen to them, etc.?
Mm-hmm.
So we thought, go ahead.
Sure, no, and faced with a difficult childhood, I work with many clients who say, well, I prayed for God to have something happen to my alcoholic, abusive father, and nothing happened. And so you have that first wounding, and it lives and affects your relationship with God now.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so let's explore some of these a little further. And What myth about self have you brought into, and my screen is not clear here, into that taught you that you couldn't change the world? So I'm not smart enough, I'm not eloquent enough, I'm not healthy enough, I'm not attractive enough to really do anything to change the situation in the world.
So if we're looking at healing the world, and I look to other people that feel capable, I look to the Gandhis, I look to the Martin Luther Kings, I look to whoever it is you want to put there, how am I not the same as that?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes it real easy. Well, he or she is so much blank better than me, and that's an easy place to start.
Mm-hmm. And then describe one limiting belief inherited from your family. No one from this family has ever fill in the blank. You're just like your mother, father.
Ooh, hate that one.
You'll never really make it. And stop dreaming. So
those phrases really get beat in often as a child. Some people can repeat them and they can feel them in their body. It's almost like it's the air they still breathe. It's just so much more subtle and so much, it's been there for so long they don't even think them, but as soon as they start to speak them or hear them, it's like, oh yeah, no, that one.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just like walls that exist around you.
Mm-hmm.
But really important to clarify those statements and work with them with your tapping to help really just, take that tabletop down from that early childhood stuff.
Mm-hmm. I also ascribe to the school of thought that says that people only show up in your hologram, in your reality, for 3 reasons. To mirror something that you feel or think about yourself or a belief that you hold, to share or impart some wisdom or knowledge to you, or 3, to help you along your mission and the reason why you decided to come here in the first place.
Okay. Well, that makes it simple.
And EFT can help you get to the point where you do forgive your perpetrator and see it as a gift and see that there was some reason for someone to betray you and to move you further along down your journey.
And move, and I think to help move through it quicker, because we all go through those turmoils and we all go through those stresses, and the ability to be able to quicken the pace, to see those lessons and to be at peace with it and to move forward,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so important.
Yep.
What do we got after family? We go to society?
Society and community. How do you feel stifled by your society community? Oppressed because of my gender, race, socioeconomic status, laws that repress my personal freedom or expression, and cultural beliefs. We have a really big one going on now in this country about someone said it in our workshop yesterday. We're in a depression. They actually said that. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. I heard that.
Yeah.
And he really was held onto that fact, and I think that righteousness, that even if the rightness is painful, it's still powerful, something to hook your head onto, to be able to hold onto, and that righteousness gives us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not in healing, but in ego satisfaction of being right.
Sure. And this is where you get to pick and choose what kind of information you let in. The media that you tune out or tune into, don't read the newspaper. I know that you and I have been on a news fast for a very long time, and the information that we need, it just comes our way.
It does. That was actually scary for me. That wasn't easy, because I tell you, I was a AM talk show junkie. I watched the news every day. I read newspapers. Because I'm an intelligent person, I want to be informed. I want to keep on top of things. But the truth is that we're in information overload. And
Mm-hmm.
so many things come to me that I don't really do anything about anyway, that now if I surrender and I trust that the things that are most important that I can make a difference about will get to me, and you know what, they do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that selective choosing of information that comes in from my society is an important one.
Mm-hmm.
How my experiences with God resulted in feelings of powerlessness, and that's what we were talking about, where God didn't seem to be there in the way that I thought she should be there at the time. That that there was a way that I believe the choreography of my life should have happened to have saved me from a certain experience, spared me, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? At this point in my life, it feels like the choreography is perfect. I just sometimes need to trust that it may be a little while before I see the bigger picture about why something happened in particular to have the design work out the way it does.
And so how do you develop that patience?
I think enough experiences of seeing how that worked out perfectly has been able to justify that. But I think there's always a leap when it's happening, when you're in that moment of this cannot be right. This is so not fair. This is just, I can't believe this is happening to me. I'm a good person. It doesn't deserve to happen to me. And now there's this little voice that says, you don't know all the pieces that are happening right now. So, take a deep breath, trust in that it's happening perfectly, and I think it's a muscle that grows.
Mm-hmm.
And using tapping to be able to see the flip side, to be able to see the opportunity in each situation, makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, when I said earlier, you have no idea what's truly going on, it's known that our conscious minds can only hold 7 bits of information at a time, plus or minus 2, and our subconscious mind has the ability to hold billions and billions and billions, and that's what's really going on, and we have no idea what's actually happening. And if you can be in that state of grace of saying, okay, I'm not really aware, and let's just see what happens, and use EFT to get you through the fear and the impatience, because impatience actually at the root of that is fear. Then you're good. Then you're good. Then you can really achieve a very happy life, I think, and affect change that way. Okay, so now we're going to do some tapping.
Good. All right. Stop talking and start tapping. Okay, so this is where people are going to have to start taking a look at some of the issues that they wish to work on.
Sure.
So where do you want to start?
So I suggest that you pick a situation in which you feel limited because you haven't been able to affect change in it so far.
Give me an example.
An example.
Something in a personal relationship, something
Sure.
in a work relationship with finances or money. What will be a good one?
Yeah, I think let's do one on relationships, on romantic relationships.
Okay. All right.
So pick an issue that you have with your mate or some person that you were romantically involved with from your past, and you worked on this one, and it's still there. It still sticks in your craw. And I will leave it as general as possible so that you can fill in the blank and just imagine the scene or the issue. All right, so start at your karate chop point and repeat after me. Even though I feel powerless to change my current situation.
Even though I feel powerless to change my current situation.
Or the pain that I have around this past situation.
Or even though I feel powerless to change this past situation that I've experienced.
I deeply and profoundly love and accept myself.
I deeply and profoundly love and accept myself.
Even though I feel stuck in my life.
Even though I just feel stuck in my life, like it just won't move.
Whether it be in my relationship with myself, with my partner, with my family, or my work.
With this relationship that I have, it's just not budging. It's just staying still, and it just won't move, and I just can't no matter what I try.
And I've tried everything to heal it.
And I have tried everything. You have no idea how many things I've tried. I've tried so hard to change it.
I deeply and profoundly love and accept myself.
Even though I feel that way, I still deeply and profoundly love and accept myself.
Even though I can't shift out of the emotions that I've been carrying around related to this wound.
Even though no matter what I do, I cannot seem to shift out of the stuck emotions that I have about this wound.
I choose to remain open to the possibility that I can learn from it.
I choose to be open to the possibility that despite me not liking that circumstance and it being stuck in my craw, that I'm open to learning from it.
I'm open to transforming it.
And that I'm open to transforming it into something better.
And that I can actually be at peace with myself.
And I'm open to the possibility that with regard to this, I can be at peace with myself.
Okay, top of head, I feel powerless.
I feel powerless.
Start of the eyebrow, I can't change it.
I just can't change it.
Side of the eye, I keep trying and trying, but it doesn't make a difference.
I try and I try and try, but it just doesn't change no matter what.
Under the eye, no matter what I do, it stays the same.
It just stays the same. It's always the same.
Under the nose, what can I possibly do about this?
I don't know what else to do about this. What can I do?
Chin point, maybe there's a feeling that I don't deserve it to be better than it is.
Ouch. Maybe there's some part of me that believes that I'm not deserving of having this.
Collarbone, I just feel overwhelmed by it.
And when I really think about it and feel it, it just overwhelms me.
Under the arm, it's completely and utterly out of my control.
I'm so not in control of this because I've done everything that I can possibly do. It's not my fault. It was their fault, and I am just can't take responsibility for it.
All right, top of the head. I could hold open the possibility that it's there for a reason.
I can hold the possibility that it's there for some reason I'm not seeing.
Start of the eyebrow. It provides me with an opportunity to see how I'm giving my power away to a particular person.
Okay, it does provide me with the opportunity to see where I'm definitely giving my power away to this person.
Side of eye, it may be serving me as a mirror to show how powerful I can be at overcoming a seemingly impossible obstacle.
Okay, I can go there. Okay, I can see this as a possibility of an example in a mirror of how strong I can be when I overcome this. Okay.
Under the eye, I can choose to see it as a reflection of how focused, determined, and intentful I can be about anything.
Okay, I can definitely look to see it how absolutely determined and intentful I can be with focusing on a particular subject.
Under nose, I choose to disconnect any neural net connections that have made associations between my past reality and my current one.
And I choose to disconnect any neural nets that basically say that my future is connected and dependent on my past experience.
Chin point, I choose to use this as a precipice, that if I can overcome this, I can do anything.
Yeah, I definitely can choose to see this as a precipice that when I overcome this, there's nothing I can't overcome.
Collarbone, I choose to use this opportunity as an awakening step in realizing that I am the creator of my reality to prove to myself that I am making it all up.
I definitely can choose this as an opportunity to see that if I can easily just have this disappear and go away and evolve, that I am definitely making it all up. And I know in the past that I didn't see it that way, and I can definitely hold open that it could be that easy. I'm open to that possibility.
Good. Under the arm, and I allow it to be an easy, joyful, harmonious, effortless process in which my unlimited powerful self creates and attracts the magical circumstances that will alter this current reality.
Wow, that was a mouthful.
Okay, let me read it.
I'm just open to the possibility that this can magically happen easier than I ever thought possible.
All right, top of head.
Open to that.
Top of head, take a deep breath in and out. Very good. Well, thank you so much for listening to our presentation and watching us on this webinar. And I hope you got a taste of what a webinar is all about. And you can visit our corporate sponsor, who has a wonderful webinar coming up soon, matemagic.com, because healthy relationships heal the world. And our information is here where you can see Dr. Craig and his wonderful transformational dialogues and my website. Thank you, Dr. Craig.
You're welcome. My pleasure.